Where are we going? Puerto Williams. What's up, Big Adventurers? Welcome to another vlog from Chile. So today we're gonna be traveling from Punta Arenas to Puerto Williams with a plane, which is a little town at Isla Navarino, where we're gonna be hiking for next 2 days. And after that we're leaving the Chile and going to Argentina, Ushuaia. Here you can see the aerial view of Punta Arenas in the distance. So as I said in my previous vlog, I would not recommend to come here for longer time because it's quite boring. The weather is quite cold and we enjoy hiking in outdoors, and there are only a few hikes you could do around here. But seeing the penguins on Isla Magdalena was a really good experience. So here you can see some ice fields and snow fields on the mountains. So this is the Chilean side of Tierra del Fuego, and this ice stays here all year long thanks to the reflection of the sun, similar to southern Patagonian ice field, which is much bigger. So there is actually a boat tour from Punta Arenas to Puerto Williams that takes 36 hours, and you can see all these glaciers and ice fields in the close-up. So we actually wanted to go to Ushuaia straight from Punta Arenas, but the plane tickets were fully booked, and those that were not booked were really expensive. So the only option was Puerto Williams with the plane. That was also quite expensive but cheaper than Ushuaia, or to go with the boat, but the boat ride was 36 hours and it seemed like a long way. So when we're looking online for the best places for hiking in Chile, we usually found only the Torres del Paine, the W and O circuits, and also we found Pucón and Villarrica, but we didn't find anything about Puerto Williams and Isla Navarino hiking. So it seems like that the Torres del Paine has so much money that they can make better marketing to promote themselves, whereas Puerto Williams, it's basically the hikes are for free and there is no money in advertisement. So the main reason why we didn't go to Torres del Paine was that each campsite was really expensive, up to $100, and you have to book it in advance, which was almost impossible during the peak season when there is so many people want to go. It's basically overcrowded, and Puerto Williams is a much better option therefore, because there is not so many people there, and the scenery is just as breathtaking as you're gonna see in the next few videos. So you can already see the Isla Navarino here and some snowy peaks in the background. So the weather was not really good in the past few days. It was snowing here, even though it's a summer here. So right now we're flying over the Beagle Channel that's separating the Chilean Isla Navarino and Argentinian side with Ushuaia. And here you can already see the Puerto Williams town. We just have to turn and land to the airport. So here you can see the snow line, and luckily the snow is just on the peak of the mountains, as we planned to hike today already, but we didn't have snowshoes. So right now we're actually flying over the Argentinian side, and we are turning back to land at the Puerto Williams airport. Alright, so here we are slowly landing at Puerto Williams Airport, and Puerto Williams town is a pretty small town, only around 2,800 people living here, and I think it's mostly fishermen or people who have accommodation for tourists here. And accommodation here is actually pretty expensive, so that's why we only stay here for 2 nights, and we start hiking already today because we want to make most of it. So when we got out of the plane, we wanted to quickly grab our luggage and find our host from accommodation and start hiking, but we had to wait like half an hour for the luggage to get through or something, and then we couldn't find our host until like 1 hour later, so we lost a lot of time there. Alright, so here we are already starting the hike. We came back to our accommodation, had some lunch, and in the distance you can see Los Dientes, where we want to hike tomorrow. And today we're gonna do some little hike over here because it's already 3 p.m. so we don't have much time for a long hike. So we're just gonna do 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back. And some people actually start hiking straight away from the plane, because accommodation here it's quite expensive. Like I think we paid around $100 a night for just a simple room without a kitchen. Breakfast was included, but that's why some people just prefer to cook with their camp stove and camp for free. So yeah, if I was coming here again, I would definitely only camp. But the reason we were not camping was that we didn't have good sleeping bags. Our sleeping bags were only till 15 degrees Celsius, and here it gets like almost 0 degrees at night, so really not suitable for those. So after going through the town, we got to this forest road, and we're following the road on maps.me, but it was not so simple to get there, as the road started on the other side of the town. but our host told us we can connect to it, just go anywhere out of the town through the woods, which was not so simple as we had to cross a river, for example. So why Isla Navarino is so special is because it's mostly wilderness and pristine nature, except of Puerto Williams town. So you're not gonna find much houses here or human settlements, and there are not even many carnivores to be worried about. There's only beavers and some wild cows and wild dogs, but nothing to be worried about. So that's why people like to get lost here in the wilderness outside of contact with society. So you can be hiking here for days and weeks and not meet many people, and also not get eaten by puma or bear. So this bird is not flying away because it doesn't have any land predators here, same like penguins on Isla Magdalena. So this is also an island, so the predators didn't migrate here, except of maybe few wild dogs that were introduced by man. So another advantage of not having any human settlements here is that you can pretty much drink the water straight from the river. So we had to cross the river multiple times, and at the end was pretty difficult, especially for Sanya. And then we had to go up the steep hill, and then we got to these woods, and we still haven't connected to the road that was on maps.me. And some people actually just live in the wilderness, as we heard one French guy just lives here in his tent, and he basically lives off of fishing and hunting the beavers, but that's not something I would do. I would rather work 9-to-5 job and eat my vegan food. So we're walking for about 1 hour now, and we finally got to this path that was on Maps.me. So for a while it was pretty big road. So far we like this place, Puerto Williams, mainly because there is like untouched nature. So human civilization didn't intervene so much with nature here, although we see some woodcutters already. But the main thing that we like about it is that you have like a freedom here. The woods are not surrounded by fences, you know. Only that little thing, that road that we saw, the military. But otherwise you can just walk freely anywhere you want, and this is what we want to see. I think it's in countries like Norway, Sweden, it's already like this, you know, where you can pretty much go wherever you want, camp wherever you want, and just respect the nature. Don't leave the trash, you know, don't leave the open fire unattended, like things like that. But this is awesome, where you can just freely go wherever you want. If you decide to go on the left, you go on the left. You don't have to follow some strict path, you don't have to pay any fucked up entrance fee. Yeah. So the path we are following on Maps.me show that we should cross this river and keep following this road. But the river seemed too big, so we decided to follow another road, and here we got to the sign of Lago Windhoek. So we're gonna follow this path here and see where it's going. And Lago Windhoek is about 20 kilometers from here on another side of the island, so you would have to camp in the woods somewhere and come back here another day. So then we're following this little trail, so it's great that they made a nice trail here and you don't have to pay for it, and it's marked nicely as well, apart from being pretty muddy. So if you don't have waterproof shoes, you will get quite wet in your feet. So we're just saying about Torres del Paine. It's like the big national park up from Punta Arenas. We've been yesterday and past week. So you have to go to Puerto Natales, and there you start there you go catch a bus for about 2 hours, and that's the most famous like hike in Chile, to Torres del Paine. And like thousands of tourists go there every year, and it's just so overrated that you even have to book your campsite, like a tent for your spot for your tent at night, which is ridiculous. And it ends up to be like a lot of money at the end. So this place is just as amazing. We not get the views yet, but I'm sure that we'll get some views later on. And yeah, it's ridiculous that you have to pay to go to nature, so much money, and it's so complicated, and they made a business from it. But it's good that in Chile you have at least this one place where you don't have to pay anything, just get accommodation, and then you can camp wherever you want, and it's all good. So it's 5 o'clock and we are following this red sign right here, and we should turn around 6, right? Something like that. So So another thing we noticed is that we didn't have to write our names on any paper or give our numbers to any ranger or office like we had to do in Santiago or Punta Arenas. So I thought before that those were like procedures so you don't get lost and that you have to be out at 6 p.m. for example. But at the end of the day, I think it's all for business. Also, those areas in Santiago and Punta Arenas were surrounded by barbed fence and you had to pay money. Whereas here you don't have to pay money and there is no fences. So it just makes me think it's all just for business and money. So then the path started following along the river, and at times it was pretty difficult to follow the path because it was overgrown. It just goes to show that not many people go here. So it's funny how they care so much that you're not gonna get lost in areas like near Santiago where the path was clearly visible, but nobody cares about you here where the path is not visible at all. So here we finally got some more view of the mountains. So as I said, if you follow this path and these red markings, you would get to Lake Windhond, which is about 20 kilometers. And considering the speed as we're progressing, it will take you at least another day or even two. And then you can go around the mountains and come back another way. So you can do like a loop. So that's what most people doing, and there are actually two loops. So another one we're gonna start tomorrow, but obviously we're not gonna do the whole loop because we don't have the equipment necessary for it, especially the sleeping bags that are suitable for freezing weather. Our sleeping bags are only till 15 degrees Celsius, and also we don't have winter jackets in the case of snow. So after about 2.5 hours of hiking through the woods, we got out to this cleared area, and we got another view of the mountains and even the mountains at the front. So this area was probably deforested by wind, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe some humans came here and cut these woods, and it's just such a special area. This Isla Navarino, it's not touched by humans yet, but I don't think it's gonna stay here for much longer. When Chileans gonna see the more influx of tourists here who love the pristine, untouched nature, you're gonna see more businessmen coming here and building more hotels, and then there'll be more people getting properties here, more fences, more wood cuttings, and also you will be charged for the trail as well. So we are lucky that it's for free now and that the woods are preserved and that there is not much human intervention at the moment. after seeing those beautiful views and looking around the river, I found this skull of some animal. So first I thought it's a skull of some carnivore, especially some prehistoric animal like some tiger or something. But then later we found out it actually belongs to a beaver. So we took this skull back home, and our host, who is actually an anthropologist, explained us that it belongs to a beaver. That's why it has that long tooth for cutting the woods. And he told us that there's many of the bones and skulls around here, because beavers kind of there's many of them here. So yeah, it was still pretty special to me to find something like this. Okay, it's 6:10 right now, and after finding that skull, we decided to head back. So this way you can keep going alongside those mountains, and then you can reach the Windham Lake. But we don't have a proper equipment for sleeping, so we're just gonna head back and kind of relieving to know that there are no any predators like pumas or bears that could chase and hunt you. So for example, when we are hiking in Slovakia and sleeping in the woods, we're always kind of paranoid that there could be some bears going into our tent or stuff. But here there are no predators, and you just feel like the only predators here could be some mentally unstable humans. But apart from that, there are no predators. But also we haven't seen any other animals here, so it's sometimes nice to see some deers like in Europe. So Isla Navarino is pretty much the only place in Chile that I would really recommend for hiking that we visited. So all the other places like near Santiago that we're hiking, you had to pay and it was nothing special, and you had to return at some specific time. As I said, there are barbed wire fences everywhere. As I said, it was just private property, corporate bullshit, and here is just pristine nature. You don't see any fences, and you can just enjoy these beautiful trees here, and that's how it should be. And I think that's how it is in Scandinavia as well, and that's why I only recommend this place. I would not recommend the hiking near Santiago too much, or even near Punta Arenas. And I didn't see Torres del Paine, but just knowing that you have to pay $100 a night plus you have to pay entrance fee is enough for me not to go there. So we're back at the river we wanted to cross, and now we have about 1 or 2 kilometers back to the town. We're pretty hungry right now. We're hoping there'll be something to buy, but we don't have a kitchen this time. So we always try to get Airbnb with a kitchen, but this time there was no Airbnb. So we'll just try to buy some bread and whatever they have, vegan. Back, we decided to keep following this forest road where it says that's a military base, because we didn't want to go through the forest again and cross the river multiple times as you saw at the beginning. So now we're just following this way, and there are even some other hikers, so I don't think it was restricted. I don't know what was that sign for there, and hopefully we can connect back to the Puerto Williams here. So it's almost 7:30. We just came from this road, and this is where we started. So we went down here, across the river, and we lost a little bit of time there. So for next time we know that with this road we should just go over here, and that will lead to the path. I wanted to go that way first time, but I kind of was not sure. Anyway, it was a good adventure today. Now we're just gonna buy some food, and hopefully we'll find something, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next adventure. So here we got back to Puerto Williams, and we're looking at different hostels, and so these hostels have also bunk beds, and they charge much less money. Like I think you can get a bunk bed for like $30 here, but as a couple, you know, it's not really an option, so that's why we got such an expensive room. But if you book in advance, I think you can find a room even for like $50 a night. And I'm not sure about the kitchen. Maybe there is a kitchen, but again, you have to book well in advance, especially during the peak season. So now we're looking for some shop to buy some groceries, and here you can see the Beagle Channel, and on the other side it's already Argentina and Tierra del Fuego, and if you keep going on the left you would get to Ushuaia. Alright guys, we just came back from the shop and we got some groceries, but there was nothing good to eat. Even they didn't even have bread, so we just bought some burritos and we're gonna eat it with some beans and some canned vegetables. So it's pretty poor, but that's what you gotta do when you don't have a kitchen. And tomorrow we're gonna be hiking the big loop, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be really amazing. And for now, stay healthy and stay adventurous.